Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Karina Gobel. My student ID is 1601102230118. I am from IUP's undergraduate student majoring in dentistry from Faculty of Dentistry, Universitas Padjadajran. So today I will be presenting about Moyer's mixed dentition analysis that is conducted as an assignment for the orthodontist assignment on 30 May 2023. The Moyer's mixed dental analysis is, by definition and history, is a method that is used in orthodontics to predict the space available for permanent teeth in children. The analysis was developed by Dr. Roger Moyer, which is an American orthodontist, which is on the the figure that you can see on the right side. It involves measuring specific tooth width in the primary dentition or baby teeth and using this measurement to estimate the size of the permanent teeth that will eventually replace them. What is the purpose of Moyer's mixed dental analysis? It helps us to make prediction about potential crowding or spacing issues that may arise in the future, and to develop appropriate treatment plans accordingly to the issues that we have estimated towards Moyer's mixed dental analysis. So Moyer's analysis by equation is the amount of space available minus or subtracted with the space required. And the key point or the target of Moyer mixed dentition analysis is to find the estimated arch length discrepancy for future upcoming teeth. Space available is the amount of space within the arch measured from the mesial surface of the right to the sixth segment. In the figure, you can see the space available segment. The first segment includes the second molar and the first molar of the left side of the arch. The second is canine on the left side of the arch. And the third segment is both the central and lateral incisors in the left side of the arch. For the fourth and fifth and sixth, it is quite the same, but the difference is it is located on the right side of the arch. For space required, it is the mesiodistal of all the permanent tooth, and which I mean by all the permanent tooth is the incisors, because in the mixed dentition, only the incisors has been erupted, uh, and and also the molar. But for the canines and premolar, it is the one that is going through the Moyer's mixed dentition analysis. We can figure the estimation size of the teeth of both the canines and the premolars that is going to erupt later through the measurement that is conducted on the incisors. Okay, so this is the table of the probability table for predicting the size of the unerupted cuspid and bicuspid. This is for the mandibular. The top part is for the males and the bottom part is for the female. This is also the probability table or chart for the unerupted bicuspid and cuspid estimation sizes. The top part is for males and the bottom part is for the female. Mandible. So measurement in mandibular arch can be done in two ways. The first one is long way. How do we conduct this? The first step is measure the tooth with the tooth measuring gouge. In this case, it is going to be using the Boyle gouge will be using. The second step is to determine the amount of space needed for alignment of the incisors. The third step is to compute the amount of space available after incisor alignment. The fourth step is to predict the size of the combined width. So this is the brief description, and the next slide it is going to be the detailed explanation for the required space. In step 1, 2, and 3, it is going to be done to get the result of the required space. So for the first step, we need to measure all of the permanent anterior mandibular teeth, specifically FDI 32, 232, 31, 41, and 42. And this is going to be both the left and the right side for central incisors and lateral incisors. So in the figure, you can see it is using the Boyle gauge to measure each measurement of the tooth separately. And after you have found the measurement or the mesiodistal measurement or the width measurement of each tooth separately, you will then need to add them up and total it. After you total it, you will then find the result of the first step. And then moving on to the second step, the result that you have found on the first step will be used to check on the Moyer's probability table and find the probability of unerupted canines and premolars from the sum of the anterior tooth that you have done on the first step. So first find the total, the second step check on the Moyer's probability table, and then after you have done the first step and the second step, you can go on move to the third step. The third step now is quite simple, which is you need to plus or sum up the numbers or the result that you have found on the first step, and you need to add them up with two times of the number that you found or that you've resulted from the second step. So numbers that you have found on the first step is going to be add up with two times with the unerupted estimation of the canines and premolars teeth that is based on the Moyer's probability table or chart. Why do we need to add it? Why do we need to multiply it by two times? Because it needs to be checked on the left and the right side as well. So this is the mandibular table that's shown earlier. So for example, in the left corner, left side, it is for the first step. After you have found the first step, you can check the probability of the unerupted canines and premolars, and accordingly to the numbers that you have found on the first step. And in the middle, it is mostly on the numbers that is going to be the estimated sizes of cuspid and premolars. So after you have conducted the first, second, and third step for the required space, you will then move on to the fourth and fifth space, which is the part that can help you find the available space. So for the fourth step, you need to calculate the available space, and then you need to subtract it with the required space that was counted before. What is available space? And how to get them. Available space is inquired by measuring and totaling from the second left premolar to the second right premolar. So as you can see in the figure, there is a segment for the first and the second premolar. It is on the right side. It, like I've mentioned previously, first segment, and then the canine second segment, and then the central lateral incisors on the right side is on the left side is the third segment, and then the fourth and fifth and sixth. It's quite the same with the one with the first and second and third segment, but the difference is that its location is located on the right side of the arch. And so, how to find the available space is that you need to measure the first segment, second segment, third segment, all of them one by one separately. And then, after you have found each segment's measurement that you have conducted separately, you need to total them up and add them up. And then, after you have found the result of the available space based on the measurement that you have conducted on each segment, you need to minus it or subtract it with the numbers that you have found in the required space that you have conducted earlier. So this is the short method. The short method for the first step, it is quite similar, which is to add the width of the mandibular incisors and divide them by 2. And then after that, you need to add 10.5 millimeter to predict the combined width for the mandibular, and to add 11.0 millimeters to predict the width of the maxillary. And then the last step is to compute the amount of space left in the arch for molar adjustment. So the step is quite similar with the long way, and but the difference is that you need to divide it by 2, and in the second step you need to add 10.5 and 11 point millimeters. Maxillary. For the maxillary, it is quite similar in the measurement. It is quite similar like mandibular, but there are some key points to highlight the difference between the mandibular and the maxillary. The first one is we will be using a different probability chart that I have shown earlier for the use of maxilla, and there must be made for overjet correction when measurement is conducted to be occupied by the aligned incisors. So this is the key points to differentiate the maxilla and mandibular measurement. And but the width of the lower incisors also be used to predict the upper cuspid and bicuspid width. So all of the measurements can be dependent on the measurement that you have done in the mandibular incisors or the mandibular anterior teeth. Why do we depend more in the mandibular rather than the maxilla? Because there are three reasons why. The first reason is because the tooth in the mandibular they erupted early in the mouth, which means it is easy to see, easy to measure, and it has a higher accuracy because it's located in the bottom part of the oral cavity. And then through the first reason and the second reason, it enables the teeth to have a higher relation to other parts or groups of the teeth, and thus having a higher prediction of the teeth that are going to erupt later or sooner. So that's why we use the mandibular to have a better prediction or a more accurate prediction of the sizes of the premolars and canines that are going to erupt later. So that's all from my presentation today. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.